Amy Fleming, the heart and soul of Heartland, suddenly gone. In a devastating twist of fate, Amy passes away of natural causes just as Ty Borden, her husband, returns home. His shock and grief will leave him broken, and the entire Heartland family will be rocked to its core. But as one chapter closes, another begins. A new love story will emerge, and the emotional aftermath will push characters to their limits. Will Lou be ready to step into a future with Nathan? Can the Heartland family overcome the pain and find a way to move forward? Amy's sudden death sends shockwaves through the Heartland family, leaving everyone in disbelief. For viewers, it's almost impossible to imagine the Heartland Ranch without her vibrant spirit, her nurturing presence, and her unwavering strength. Amy has been the emotional anchor of this series, a character who's overcome immense grief, loss, and challenges to find healing and love again. But now, it's as if the world of Heartland has lost its balance, and the fallout from her passing will affect everyone in profound ways. Amy's death comes as a complete surprise, one that no one was prepared for. For Ty, this loss is especially crushing. After all these years of fighting through their personal struggles and triumphs, Amy's death will feel like a cruel twist of fate. He arrives home, expecting to embrace his wife, only to be met with the devastating reality that she is gone. The shock of losing Amy will cut him to the core, and viewers will witness his heartbreaking grief unfold in a raw and vulnerable way. Ty's deep sadness will reflect the emotional devastation of losing someone so integral to his life. As Amy's passing sends ripples through the Heartland family, the immediate concern becomes how to handle the aftermath. Lou, Amy's sister, will be deeply affected by the loss of her sibling. Their bond has always been one of love, despite the complexities that come with family dynamics. For Lou, this loss will challenge her on multiple levels, grieving for her sister while also stepping up to support her niece, Lindy. The weight of that responsibility will be overwhelming for Lou, who has always been the strong, dependable sister. But now, with Amy gone, Lou's role will shift. Can she handle it? How will she keep everything together for the sake of Lindy, who's already endured the pain of losing her father, Ty? The entire family will be tested as they face the harsh reality of Amy's absence. Jack, who has been a father figure to Amy for so long, will struggle with the idea of life without her. His grief will be complicated by his desire to protect the rest of the family, to ensure that they stay strong and united despite the tragedy that has unfolded. But in his heart, Jack will feel the emptiness of Amy's absence every day. He's lost a daughter in every sense, and the pain of that loss will linger in every moment of his life. But even as the family grieves, there's a new dynamic starting to emerge, one which no person could have anticipated. Nathan, who has been a steady presence in Amy's life in latest seasons, will find himself interested in Lou in methods he in no way anticipated. Their emotional connection will deepen as they lean on each other during this hard time. But with Amy's loss of life nevertheless sparkling in everyone's minds, will Lou be ready to open her coronary heart to a person new? And extra importantly, is Nathan the right man or woman for Lou? The tension among their developing bond and Lou's unresolved grief will create a whirlwind of feelings, and visitors could be left questioning if this budding romance may be capable to overcome the demanding situations that lie in advance. While the family attempts to process Amy's dying, new relationships and complications start to take form. Ty, now left alone with Lindy to elevate, ought to navigate the heartbreaking fact of being an unmarried father. His sorrow will weigh closely on him as he attempts to move ahead, at the same time as also honoring the memory of the love he shared with Amy. But there's no denying that the future will look very different for him and for everyone at Heartland. What does existence appear to be for a family that has misplaced its emotional core? Through this episode, the target audience will experience each ounce of the emotional toll that Amy's passing takes on the own family. It's not just about announcing goodbye, it's approximately learning the way to keep going in the face of tragedy. Ty's war together with his grief, Lou's internal conflict over her very own emotions in the direction of Nathan, and the bigger effect of Amy's loss of life at the Heartland Ranch will depart viewers thinking the whole lot they knew approximately the future of this loved circle of relatives. Ty Borden's return to Heartland could not have come at a worse time. Expecting a reunion with his wife after being away, Ty is thrust into a nightmare no one could have foreseen. Amy, the woman who had been his anchor, his strength, his everything, is suddenly gone, and Ty is left to navigate a world without her. His grief will be felt deeply, and the raw emotions that come with this tragic event will take center stage in the first episode of Heartland Season 19. As a character, Ty has always been defined by his quiet strength. He's a man of few words, often internalizing his feelings and dealing with problems in his own way. But with Amy's death, the walls that Ty has built around himself will begin to crumble. He will find it almost impossible to hold it together, especially when faced with the reality of raising Lindy without her mother. Ty's pain will be overwhelming, and the audience will feel every bit of it as he struggles with his new reality. Ty's deep sorrow will manifest in many ways, from moments of quiet reflection to raw outbursts of emotion. His grief won't follow a straight path. There will be moments of denial, anger, and confusion. How could this happen? How could he lose the love of his life so suddenly? These questions will linger in his mind, consuming him as he tries to make sense of a tragedy that seems completely senseless. The weight of his sorrow will be compounded by the responsibility he now carries as a father. Lindy, though young, will have a deep sense of loss herself. Ty's grief will mirror hers, and the two of them will need to lean on each other for support. But the reality of being a single father will be overwhelming for Ty. He will face doubts about his ability to raise Lindy on his own, and there will be moments where he questions if he's strong enough to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders. The idea of raising his daughter without Amy's guidance will haunt him, and his fear of failing as a father will be a constant companion. In the wake of Amy's death, Ty will have no choice but to rely on those around him. Jack will be a pillar of support for Ty, offering him the wisdom and guidance that only a father figure can provide. Yet, even Jack will have trouble finding the right words to comfort his son-in-law, as his own grief over losing Amy runs deep. Ty's relationship with Lou will also evolve during this time. While Lou will be dealing with her own sorrow over the loss of her sister, she will step in to support Ty as best as she can. The bond between them, already strong from their shared experiences with Amy, will become even deeper in the aftermath of her death. However, there will be moments of tension as Ty's grief and Lou's unresolved feelings toward her own personal life collide. Lou's desire to protect her family and help Ty will sometimes clash with her own emotional needs, creating an inner conflict that will only add complexity to her already complicated relationship with Nathan. As Ty begins to process his grief, he will also start to question what life looks like without Amy. For years, Amy and Ty built a life together, one that was full of love, growth, and healing. Without her, Ty will feel as though he is adrift, uncertain of his place in the world. The legacy of his relationship with Amy will shape his next steps, and he will find it difficult to imagine a future without her by his side. But as the episode progresses, Ty will begin to realize that, while his pain may never fully go away, he has to keep moving forward. His daughter needs him, and the Heartland Ranch still depends on him. Ty will slowly start to piece his life back together, one small step at a time. His journey through grief will be long, and it won't be easy, but it will also be one of self-discovery. He will learn to open up, to lean on others, and to find strength in places he never thought possible. Through Ty's emotional journey, viewers will see the raw, unfiltered reality of grief. It won't be neat or tidy, and it won't come with easy answers. But Ty's character will shine as a symbol of resilience, even in the face of overwhelming sorrow. His struggle will be one that resonates deeply with anyone who has experienced loss, and his journey will keep viewers emotionally invested in his healing process throughout the season. While Ty's grief will take center stage, Lou's emotional journey in the wake of Amy's death will also be a crucial element of the first episode. Losing her sister, the person who had always been by her side, sharing in the ups and downs of life, will leave Lou reeling. She will be forced to confront not just the loss of a loved one, but also the strain of stepping into a leadership role at Heartland while juggling her personal grief and family responsibilities. The depth of Lou's sorrow will be palpable, but her response to Amy's death will also be marked by a sense of duty to those around her, especially her family. Amy's death will force Lou to take on even more responsibility, not just for the ranch, but also for her niece, Lindy. Lou will feel an intense pressure to be a stable figure for Lindy as she copes with the absence of her mother. However, Lou's grief will often make her feel inadequate. as if she's not able to fulfill the role of both aunt and mother in the way that Amy would have. As a result, Lou will experience a deep internal conflict. How can she help Lindy when she herself is struggling to process the loss? This emotional turmoil will be compounded by Lou's complicated relationship with her own romantic life. After the breakup with Mitch, Lou has had to navigate a difficult period of personal reflection, and while she may have thought she was beginning to move forward, Amy's death will make her reevaluate everything. Her bond with Nathan, the man who has been a stabilizing force for her in recent times, will face new challenges as Lou begins to question her readiness for a new relationship. Can she open her heart to someone else while still mourning her sister? Will she be able to accept the possibility of love again? As Lou wrestles with her grief, her growing relationship with Nathan will become an anchor for her. But it will also be a source of tension. Nathan, who is deeply sympathetic to Lou's situation, will try his best to be there for her. But Lou's reluctance to open up will create distance between them. She will find it difficult to trust that she is ready for a new relationship, especially one so soon after her sister's death. Lou's fear of losing someone else she loves will make it harder for her to fully embrace the possibility of love with Nathan, even though he is a constant presence offering her support and comfort. Throughout this emotional journey, Lou will also face external pressure as the Heartland Ranch continues to function in the wake of the tragedy. With Amy gone, Lou will have to step in more fully to manage the day-to-day operations of the ranch, making decisions that are often heavy with the weight of responsibility. She will have to rely on Jack and Ty to guide her, but ultimately, the path forward will rest on her shoulders. Her role as a leader at Heartland will evolve as she navigates the complexities of grieving and taking charge. There will be moments where Lou feels overwhelmed, questioning whether she is strong enough to carry the emotional and logistical burdens that Amy's death has placed on her. Yet, her love for her family and the legacy of her sister's spirit will push her forward. Lou will find herself stepping up in unexpected ways, drawing on her inner strength and determination to keep the family together. She will learn that leadership doesn't always come from having all the answers, but from being present, listening, and working through the challenges with the support of those around her. At the same time, Lou will experience moments of vulnerability where she allows herself to grieve. These will be rare but powerful moments, showing her struggle to reconcile the role of a caretaker with her own need for healing. While she may try to shield others from her pain, Lou's grief will eventually become more apparent as she finds herself breaking down behind closed doors, unable to keep up the facade of strength for much longer. Her vulnerability will make her more relatable to the audience, as it underscores the universal experience of grief and loss. Lou's adventure inside the first episode may be one of personal growth as she learns to stability her emotions with her duties. Her reference to Nathan may be a critical part of her recuperation manner, although it received to be without its complications. As she starts to navigate her personal emotional panorama, Lou will also start to come to phrases with what comes next for her, not simply in phrases of love, however, additionally, as the matriarch of Heartland. Can she lead the ranch and be a sturdy, loving presence for Lindy, whilst nonetheless processing her very own sorrow? Ty's go back to Heartland might be both a second of wish and deep sorrow. After years of separation, lovers have longed for his go-back. But what Ty finds upon his arrival is not the glad reunion he may have estimated. Amy, the woman he loves, has exceeded away, leaving him now not handiest heartbroken, however profoundly modified. His go-back, which need to were a time of recuperation and reconciliation, is alternatively overshadowed by tragedy, forcing him to stand at international in which the whole thing has shifted dramatically. Ty's surprise at Amy's demise may be profound, and his grief will be intense. Upon hearing the news, Ty will warfare to process the loss. His thoughts can be flooded with memories of the lifestyles they shared, the dreams they constructed collectively, and the love that was cut short a long way too quickly. As he steps into the arena without Amy, Ty will experience a deep emotional turmoil, struggling with guilt and regret for the time they lost, and questioning what might have been if he had been there for her. His return to Heartland will carry with it an experience of displacement. Ty will discover himself standing within the very location that once felt like domestic. But now, it seems empty and cold without Amy. The ranch, as soon as a symbol in their shared existence and love, will now remind him most effective of what he's misplaced. There will be moments wherein Ty will query if he can continue on at Heartland, or if he ought to go away and try and break out the haunting reminders of his past. However, Ty's courting with the Heartland circle of relatives will ultimately anchor him through his grief. Jack, as a father figure, will provide assist. Although there could be moments of tension as Jack, too, methods his own grief over dropping Amy. The own family will rally around Ty, but the emotional strain will weigh closely on each person. Ty, especially, will struggle with how to in-shape lower back into a lifestyle that has moved on without him. His very own feelings of guilt approximately now not being there for Amy in her very last moments might be a crucial subject in his emotional journey. Ty's recuperation technique may be slow and hard. His adventure through grief might be layered with conflicting feelings. He will want to guard his daughter, Lindy, and be the robust father-parent she desires. But at the identical time, Ty will sense completely misplaced without Amy. Every selection could be clouded by using his mourning, and each motion will convey the burden of his loss. His love for Amy will by no means fade, but getting to know to live without her can be a venture he by no means expected. Despite the darkness that surrounds his go-back, Ty's resilience will eventually start to shine via. His bond with Lindy becomes a beacon of hope. As he steps into the position of a single father, Ty will locate energy in his daughter, decided to present her the love and care she deserves. This new bankruptcy in Ty's existence might be fraught with ache. However, it's going to additionally provide him a path to restoration. His devotion to Lindy becomes the using force at the back of his healing, pushing him to rebuild his lifestyles, even supposing it way doing so without the woman he always notioned he would spend forever with. Ty's adventure inside the first episode will now not simply be one among sorrow, however, of transformation. He will face his grief head-on, learning that it is not something that can be without difficulty overcome, but something that should be processed and lived with. His emotional struggles could be palpable. However, Ty will slowly begin to reclaim his vicinity within the Heartland family. This manner won't be immediately, and there could be setbacks. However, over time, Ty will begin to recognize that whilst he has misplaced Amy, he is still a part of the family she cherished, and that connection will assist him move forward. One of the most poignant components of Ty's go-back will be his evolving relationship with Lou. Both having lost someone they love, their grief will bind them collectively in ways that neither of them assume. Lou, as Amy's sister, may be an important part of Ty's restoration method, although it'll no longer be without its emotional complexities. Ty, struggling with his grief and emotions of guilt, will locate solace in Lou's presence. However, he'll also experience her own sorrow, for you to make it difficult for him to completely lean on her. There might be moments in which Ty feels as though he's lost his region in the international, wondering whether he has the power to keep residing the existence Amy might have desired for him. But through his interactions with Lou, Jack, and the rest of the Heartland circle of relatives, Ty will begin to discover a way to transport ahead. His journey will be a testament to the energy of circle of relatives and community, in addition to the enduring impact of love, even in the face of devastating loss. In the aftermath of Amy's demise, Ty's story will be certainly one of grief, growth, and reputation. His go back to Heartland will not be the reunion fanatics were hoping for, but it'll be a turning point in his existence. As Ty works through his pain, he'll come to recognize that at the same time as he can in no way update Amy, he can maintain her legacy by raising Lindy with the equal love and dedication Amy would have given her. As the Heartland family grapples with the aftermath of Amy's premature demise, any other tremendous improvement starts off evolved to spread, one on the way to change the dynamic at Heartland in profound ways. Lou Fleming, Amy's sister, finds herself stuck in a delicate emotional struggle as she starts off evolved to grow closer to Nathan. This courting, born from shared grief and mutual aid, is bound to stir up questions. Can Lou open her heart to a person else after dropping her cherished sister? And, greater importantly, will Nathan be capable of offer Lou the love and balance she desires at some stage in this turbulent time? From the very starting of Heartland Season 19, it's clear that Lou isn't always ready to jump into a new courting. Her grief over Amy's dying is raw, and the final aspect on her thoughts is falling in love. However, life doesn't always observe a clean and predictable path. mainly in instances of loss. Nathan, who has already mounted a robust presence at Heartland, becomes a discern of emotional support for Lou, presenting her the form of comfort and know-how she so desperately wishes. Nathan's function in Lou's existence is multifaceted. As a consistent and reliable discern, Nathan becomes a person Lou can lean on in her moments of vulnerability. His kindness, patience, and gentle approach to Lou's grief help her navigate the huge emotional hurricane she's enduring. Nathan doesn't try and rush Lou into anything, respecting her mourning length and allowing her to heal in her very own time. This thoughtful consideration of Lou's feelings lays the foundation for what is going to subsequently come to be a greater intimate bond. What complicates Lou's feelings, but, is her internal warfare. She feels torn among the affection she nonetheless has for her sister and the capability for a new chapter with Nathan. Lou's emotional nation is fragile, and any mind of transferring ahead with a person else seem nearly like betrayal. She has spent a lot of her existence taking care of others, particularly Amy, that the prospect of loving a person else feels nearly foreign to her. Yet, as time passes, Lou will find herself interested in Nathan in approaches which can be not possible to ignore. The chemistry between Lou and Nathan is plain, but it's no longer something both of them is speeding into. They begin to bond over their shared duties at Heartland, as well as their mutual subject for the well-being of the family. As they work collectively on the ranch, their connection deepens, and Lou starts off evolved to see Nathan in a brand new mild. He's now not only a pal or a family member, he's someone who cares about her and her family, and that's something Lou can't assist, however admire. Nathan, for his component, is patient with Lou's hesitations. He is aware the depth of the pain she's experiencing, in particular after losing Amy, and he doesn't need to rush her into something. But his emotions for Lou are actual, and he unearths himself becoming an increasing number of drawn to her. He's there for her while she needs help, whether it's helping with the ranch work or offering a listening ear for the duration of her most hard moments. His compassion for Lou and her circle of relatives makes him an irreplaceable part of the Heartland group, and it doesn't take lengthy for Lou to comprehend simply how lots he's grown to be a part of her lifestyles. However, as their bond grows, Lou's fear of transferring on starts off, evolved to creep in. She questions whether she can surely love someone else after Amy's loss of life, or if it's a betrayal of the bond she shared together with her sister. For Lou, the emotional weight of the scenario is overwhelming. She doesn't want to harm all people, and she's frightened of losing the valuable connection she had with Amy. But at the identical time, she begins to apprehend that it's okay to permit a person else into her heart, even though that man or woman is Nathan. The turning point in Lou and Nathan's courting comes during a quiet second, while Lou in the end opens up approximately her fears and doubts. She confesses how tough it's been for her to even remember the idea of loving a person after Amy, and Nathan listens without judgment. He reassures her that he's not seeking to update Amy, but alternatively, he desires to build something new with Lou, something that respects the love and memories she has of her sister. Nathan's phrases are a comfort to Lou, and he or she starts off, evolved to look the possibility of a future with him, no longer as a replacement for Amy, however, as a continuation of her very own journey towards recuperation. Yet, in spite of their developing closeness, there are nonetheless barriers that Lou and Nathan must conquer. Lou's children, Katie and Lindy, are dealing with their very own grief, and Lou is concerned approximately how they'll respond to a new relationship of their lives. She's additionally uncertain how the relaxation of the Heartland circle of relatives will react, especially Ty, who has simply backed to the ranch and is still processing his very own heartbreak. Lou doesn't want to make everybody uncomfortable or sense as though she's moving on too fast. These concerns weigh heavily on her thoughts as she attempts to navigate her emotions for Nathan and her responsibilities to her family. In the midst of all this, the Heartland circle of relatives' dynamics begin to shift. Jack, Lou's father, and the relaxation of the own family note the developing courting among Lou and Nathan. While Jack is supportive of his daughter's healing method, he additionally wants to ensure that she's making selections that are in her satisfactory interest, both emotionally and for the own family as a whole. Jack, who has constantly been a protector of his own family, will specific his worries, mainly considering the emotional complexity of the scenario. But his love for Lou will also push him to simply accept the possibility that she may be geared up to transport ahead in her personal time. As Lou and Nathan's relationship progresses, the tension among honoring Amy's reminiscence and embracing the opportunity of a new love story will continue to play out. It may be a journey of increase and popularity, each for Lou and for the Heartland family. Lou will study that loving once more doesn't diminish her love for Amy, it simply lets in her to heal and move ahead in a manner that honors both her beyond and her future. But the question stays, will Lou be geared up to marry Nathan? Will she take that step toward building a new life with him? The solution isn't something so as to come effortlessly, and Lou should make a desire that reflects her own emotional increase and information of what it approached to like after loss. In time, Lou will come to recognize that the love she shares with Nathan doesn't replace Amy's. However, rather, it builds upon the inspiration of family, accept as true with, and restoration that has continually been at the center of Heartland. And perhaps, in the end, that's what Amy might have desired for her. A threaded happiness, a chance to move ahead, and a chance to love again. Lou and Nathan's relationship will no longer be a short, clean decision to the grief and heartache that has ate up them. But inside the gradual and consistent building of their connection, they'll discover the energy to heal collectively, locating wish inside the destiny whilst they honor the past. The loss of Amy is, definitely, the toughest aspect Ty Borden has ever faced. Having spent so many years collectively, elevating a circle of relatives and constructing a destiny, the bond between Ty and Amy changed into unbreakable. The shock of her surprising loss of life leaves Ty emotionally shattered. And for the first time, he unearths himself lost, without a clear feel of root or purpose. Ty's go back to Heartland in Season 19, Episode 1, marks the beginning of a tumultuous adventure closer to restoration. However, his course is whatever but easy. Ty's pain is palpable. He has been through a lot over the years, dropping his mother and father, battling personal demons, and operating to create an existence he might be happy with. Yet, none of these struggles prepared him for the devastation of dropping the love of his lifestyles. Amy was not just his companion. She turned into his anchor, the person who understood him in methods no person else should. With her gone, Ty is left questioning the whole lot, his place inside the global, his destiny, and the very which means of lifestyles without her by way of his side. The grief Ty reports is a complex and uncooked emotion that impacts him in surprising approaches. His go back to Heartland, as soon as a place of comfort and refuge, now feels foreign and empty. Ty's first few days back on the ranch are packed with silence and an awesome feel of loss. He attempts to position on a brave face for his family, mainly for his daughter, Lindy, but beneath the surface, he is struggling to come back to phrases with the reality of his situation. The man who as soon as had such clean desires and goals now reveals himself wandering via existence with no concept where to head next. At Heartland, Jack and the relaxation of the circle of relatives are there for Ty, but they too are dealing with their own grief. Jack, ever the protector, desires to assist Ty through this hard time, but he also is aware that no one can pressure a person to heal. Ty has to return to phrases together with his pain in his own way, and that system goes to take time. Ty's inner warfare is compounded by his feelings of guilt. He feels as even though he wasn't there for Amy within the manner he need to have been, and now that she's gone, he's left with an awesome feel of remorse. He can't shake the sensation that there has been something more he ought to have carried out, a few way he should have averted this heartbreak. As Ty navigates his grief, he also faces the truth of his obligations. He is still a father to Lindy, and even though he is fed on by using his very own ache, he knows he must be there for her. Ty's role as a father is one of the few matters that anchors him to the prevailing moment. His love for Lindy turns into each a source of strength and a reminder of what he's misplaced. She is the one vivid spot in his lifestyles proper now, and his preference to be the fine father he may be drives him to push via the fog of his grief. But even that isn't clean. There are moments when Ty struggles to hook up with Lindy, feeling as although he's failing her through now, not being the man he was once, the person who might be robust, regular, and gift. Ty's vulnerability on this moment is one of the most heartbreaking components of his adventure. As the times go by, Ty slowly starts to reconnect with the land and the animals at Heartland. His connection to the ranch has continually been a crucial part of his identification, and inside the wake of Amy's death, it's one of the few matters that also feels acquainted. However, even right here, the burden of his loss is ever gift. Every corner of Heartland holds memories of Amy, her presence in the barn, her laughter as they labored collectively, and the quiet moments they shared. Ty's grief isn't just a fleeting emotion. It's a regular companion, haunting him at every turn. The recovery technique, it seems, will take far longer than Ty ever anticipated. At the identical time, Ty faces the tough reality of being part of a family that is changing. The Heartland he returns to is no longer the equal vicinity he left at the back of. With Amy's loss of life, a number of the acquainted dynamics on the ranch have shifted. Lou, who has usually been a sturdy and resilient figure, is now going through her very own grief and wondering her vicinity inside the circle of relatives. Jack, who has usually been the patriarch, is dealing with his very own getting older method and the shifting responsibilities of jogging the ranch. Ty's go back comes at a time whilst the own family is in flux, and he ought to navigate his personal grief whilst trying to find his location in this new fact. Ty's recovery system isn't linear. Some days are better than others. However, there are moments while he feels as although he's taking steps forward and 3 steps again. He is caught between the choice to move on and the deep love he nonetheless feels for Amy. There are instances when Ty wonders if he'll ever be able to find happiness once more, or if he's destined to stay inside the shadow of his grief for all time. But via it all, Ty keeps to push forward, determined to honor Amy's memory and be there for the family that still desires him. As the season progresses, Ty will begin to understand that restoration doesn't imply forgetting. It means locating a manner to live with the loss, to carry it with him even as still embracing the destiny. Ty will come to recognize that his love for Amy will in no way fade. However, he should discover a manner to transport forward, for himself and for Lindy. His journey toward recovery may be lengthy and difficult, but it's going to additionally be one among increase, self-discovery, and the conclusion that love by no means genuinely dies. It virtually evolves. For Ty, the road to restoration is marked by small victories and painful setbacks. As he slowly rebuilds his existence, he's going to start to locate new motive at Heartland. He will take on greater duties, paintings via his grief, and preserve to reveal up for his daughter. And at the same time as the ache of dropping Amy will usually be with him, Ty will in the end locate the energy to honor her reminiscence in a manner that lets in him to move forward and embody, regardless of the future holds. One of the maximum poignant aspects of Ty's adventure might be his eventual reconciliation with the concept of affection. While he may in no way love everybody the manner he cherished Amy, he will come to apprehend that it's K to love again, to construct new connections, and to open his coronary heart to new possibilities. Whether that means locating new relationships or surely reconnecting with the circle of relatives around him, Ty's adventure can be a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of love, even inside the face of devastating loss. Through Ty's struggle, the Heartland own family will learn a treasured lesson. Grief is not something to be conquered, however, something to be lived with. It is a system of transformation, one which requires endurance, knowledge, and time. And in the end, Ty will come to understand that despite the fact that Amy is now not with him, she is constantly a part of him, and that's something he can bring with him as he movements ahead. Ty's story is one among profound heartbreak, however also of wish, resilience, and the unbreakable bond of circle of relatives. The unexpected demise of Amy leaves a void inside the Heartland family that feels not possible to fill. But while the grief and sorrow are overwhelming, existence maintains to move ahead. In the wake of this tragedy, new relationships and new beginnings begin to take form. None more unexpected and complicated than the evolving connection among Nathan and Lou. Nathan, the ranch hand who has continually been a part of the Heartland family, unearths himself more and more attracted to Lou as she navigates the deep pain of dropping her sister. He's no stranger to loss and heartache, having skilled his very own share of tragedies in the beyond. But the grief Lou is enduring, as the loss of life of her sister Amy shakes her to the core, brings a brand new perspective on love and support that Nathan has never absolutely skilled. Lou, for her component, is a woman who has usually been strong and impartial. regularly wearing the weight of the arena on her shoulders. Throughout the years, she has been a dependable and regular parent at Heartland, balancing the ranching obligations along with her own non-public and professional aspirations. But with Amy's sudden passing, Lou is thrust into a new fact, one wherein the position she as soon as held is now all the time modified. She's no longer simplest grappling with the loss of her sister, but additionally with the assignment of maintaining her personal sense of balance for her daughter, Katie, and the relaxation of the circle of relatives. As the times skip, Lou's grief becomes increasingly more obvious. She tries to keep things collectively, attending to the wishes of her family, and making sure that Heartland keeps to run easily. But there's a palpable distance between Lou and the people who love her as she silently struggles to cope with her heartbreak. She can't help but sense overwhelmed with the aid of the weight of her obligations and the lack of her sister. Amy became greater than just a sibling to Lou. She was her closest friend, confidant, and the person that usually knew the way to make her chuckle within the darkest instances. Now, with Amy long past, Lou is compelled to navigate a future that appears hugely distinct from the only she had expected. In this dark duration, Nathan will become a quiet supply of comfort and guide for Lou. His presence at Heartland becomes more and more vital, not just for the ranch, but for Lou in my view. He's been via his own emotional battles, and there's a quiet expertise between him and Lou that forms a basis for something deeper. Nathan doesn't rush Lou into something. Instead, he gives a constant and affected person presence, giving her the gap to grieve with none expectations. This easy act of kindness speaks volumes to Lou, who has usually been aware of taking fee of situations. As time goes on, Lou starts to lean extra on Nathan, appreciating the manner he listens without judgment and gives aid without strain. His regular, calm demeanor offers a feel of peace inside the chaos of her emotions. Slowly, however, genuinely, Lou begins to understand that Nathan isn't always only a supply of consolation. He's someone who truly cares for her. His true kindness and emotional availability permit Lou to open up in approaches she hasn't before, and he or she reveals herself confiding in him an increasing number of. Nathan, in Flip, begins to realize that his emotions for Lou are more than simply pleasant guide. He's constantly favored Lou's electricity and determination, but there's something deeper developing between them. As they spend extra time together, Nathan starts to see Lou in a brand new light. She is no longer simply the sister of his first-rate pal. She's a girl who has been through an unattainable quantity of pain and yet continues to combat for her own family. Nathan is moved by way of Lou's resilience, her capability to hold going despite the grief she's sporting, and the manner she manages to balance her love for her circle of relatives with the overpowering experience of loss. However, Lou isn't prepared to include those emotions absolutely. Despite the developing connection among them, Lou's mind is clouded with grief and confusion. She continues to be processing the unexpected and heartbreaking loss of Amy, and the concept of beginning a new relationship feels each impossible and wrong. In her thoughts, transferring on from Amy's death so soon could be a betrayal to her sister's reminiscence. But even as Lou struggles with those thoughts, she won't deny the pull she feels towards Nathan. It's no longer just the comfort he affords, but additionally the manner he makes her sense understood, like someone who actually sees her, no longer simply as a grieving sister, but as someone who has her own desires, and goals. Their connection continues to grow, and the emotional tension among them turns into extra palpable. Nathan is affected person, know how that Lou wishes time, but there are moments while he can't help but marvel if they may construct something lasting collectively. He begins to picture a future with Lou, one wherein they percentage no longer handiest the duties of the ranch, however, also the fun and challenges of elevating their households together. However, Nathan is careful no longer to pressure Lou. He knows that the timing might not be right, and he respects the space she wishes to heal from the profound loss she's skilled. For Lou, the idea of loving once more is a daunting one. She has spent a lot time focusing on her own family and the ranch that the idea of commencing her coronary heart to a person else feels overseas. On top of that, Lou is faced with the query of whether it's even possible to like a person else while her coronary heart nevertheless aches for Amy. She fears that transferring ahead could mean letting move of part of her sister that she's now not geared up to lose. But Nathan's presence in her life is undeniable. He brings the experience of calm and balance that Lou has been craving. He doesn't attempt to update Amy. Instead, he offers her a brand new kind of love. A love that is rooted in compassion, knowledge, and mutual recognize. As Lou grapples with her feelings, her family notices the change in her. Jack, who has continually been a sturdy, supportive figure in Lou's existence, sees the bond growing among her and Nathan and offers his very own shape of help. While Jack doesn't push Lou into something, he encourages her to explore her emotions and recollect the possibility of a destiny with Nathan. Jack's attitude is mainly precious, as he's visible Lou go through many challenges over the years, and he is familiar with the importance of allowing like to heal even the private wounds. Katie, too, starts off evolved to note the developing connection between her mother and Nathan. While she's still processing the loss of her Aunt Amy, Katie is old enough to understand that existence moves on, and she begins to see how Nathan's presence in their lives is supporting her mother. Katie encourages Lou to take the time she desires, but she additionally expresses her wish that Lou will locate happiness once more. As the season progresses, Lou's internal struggle intensifies. She desires to move ahead and embody the possibility of a brand new beginning with Nathan. However, she's scared of dropping herself within the manor. Can she love Nathan and nonetheless honor her sister's memory? Can she find pleasure in life again while carrying the ache of loss? The question weighs closely on her coronary heart. However, because the bond between her and Nathan deepens, Lou starts to look a destiny with him. Now, not as a replacement for Amy, but as a continuation of the affection and support she's usually had from her own family. As the episode development, Lou will make a decision so that it will for all time change her existence. Whether or not she and Nathan will be ready to marry is still unsure, but their connection is simple. Their tale is simply starting, and though there can be many hurdles to conquer, their love tale is one that promises recuperation, boom, and a new bankruptcy in both their lives. The Heartland circle of relatives will learn how to embody this new beginning, know how that love is a powerful force that could emerge even inside the wake of tragedy. As we hold to observe the aftermath of Amy's premature dying spread, it turns into more and more clear that the Heartland family will never be the identical. The once tight-knit organization, forever bound by means of shared recollections and a deep-rooted love for every other, is now suffering to address the lack of one of its valuable pillars. Yet, amidst the heartache, a new bankruptcy is starting, one full of uncertainty but additionally wish. This section explores the potential for trade in the Heartland legacy, from the emotional trips of the remaining characters to the evolving dynamics of the own family as they try to hold Heartland's traditions alive. Amy Fleming, along with her precise potential to hook up with stricken horses and mend damaged spirits, turned into the heart and soul of Heartland. Her premature dying leaves no longer best a void in her circle of relatives' lives, but additionally inside the very cloth of the ranch itself. Without her, the future of Heartland is uncertain, and her absence looms large over each decision, each moment. While Jack and Tim are decided to maintain the ranch alive, it's clear that they are suffering to find a way ahead without Amy's guiding hand. They may not comprehend it yet, but they may be approximately to be tested in approaches they never anticipated. The query of who will carry on Amy's legacy will become a factor of hysteria at some stage in the season. While her absence is painfully felt, the legacy she leaves behind is simple. Amy's contributions to the ranch, her paintings with the horses, and the relationships she constructed with the human beings around her are deeply woven into the Heartland narrative. But as the family grapples with the emotional toll of her death, they should additionally figure out how to preserve the ranch running in her absence. Jack and Tim, regardless of their years of experience, can now not deny that the dynamic at Heartland has shifted, and that they should discover a manner to evolve to this new fact. While Amy's loss of life shakes the inspiration of Heartland, Georgie's go-back turns into a pivotal second for the circle of relatives. Having left for a time to pursue her very own desires and private increase, Georgie comes lower back to Heartland at an important second. She reveals herself now not most effective grieving the loss of her aunt, but additionally thinking her personal role in the family. Georgie became once a young woman who located herself at Heartland after overcoming her very own struggles, and now, as a younger grown-up, she ought to navigate her path at the same time as honoring her aunt's memory. Her go back to Heartland sparks a brand new dynamic within the family. As Georgie steps up to fill the function Amy once held, the tension among looking to keep Amy's legacy and growing her personal course turns into palpable. Georgie is determined to keep Amy's work with the horses alive, but she additionally is aware of she won't mirror Amy's precise bond with the animals. The pressure to live as much as Amy's standards weighs closely on Georgie. However, it additionally becomes an opportunity for her to grow and carve out her own identification inside the Heartland-owned family. However, Jack has constantly been a man of quiet power, and as the season progresses, we see him begin to take on a greater prominent leadership function. While the Own family continues to be reeling from Amy's death, Jack will become the anchor that holds them together. His unwavering perception inside the significance of Heartland and the values it stands for lets in him to lead with compassion and determination. Though he faces his personal moments of doubt, Jack's love for his circle of relatives and his willpower to maintaining Heartland alive are unwavering. As the circle of relatives struggles to address loss, Jack steps in to provide expertise and steerage. He turns into a source of stability for Lou, Georgie, and the others, reminding them of the importance of family, love, and perseverance. In his quiet, steadfast way, Jack shows his circle of relatives that, regardless of the ache, Heartland can nevertheless thrive. The ranch isn't just a physical area, it's a symbol of the whole lot the family has constructed and the entirety they are able to building in the future. Tim, the Own family's lovable but flawed cowboy, is some other character who feels the weight of Amy's loss deeply. His dating with Amy became complex, packed with each love and regret, and her death forces him to confront the unresolved emotions he has carried for years. But inside the wake of Amy's passing, Tim unearths himself in a new position, one where he needs to step up and show himself to the Own family in methods he in no way predicted. As Heartland faces its next chapter, the circle of relatives will need to come back together more than ever. The dying of Amy marks the cease of a generation, but it additionally marks the start of a new one. New relationships will form, and new demanding situations will get up. However, the center values that have usually defined Heartland, Own family, love, resilience, will preserve to manual them. The legacy of Amy Fleming will stay on within the hearts of individuals who cherished her, and as the Heartland-owned family seems closer to the future, they may find a manner to honor her memory, whilst creating new legacies in their very own. One of the maximum compelling factors of this season's emotional journey is the unexpected romance that begins to unfold among Lou Fleming and Nathan. While Lou has always been the robust, independent discern of Heartland, her bond with Nathan deepens as they navigate the shared grief of losing Amy. The two characters, who've both experienced their very own private heartache, start to see in each different the capability for something extra, something that might offer not best solace, but additionally a path ahead. Their relationship begins carefully, as Lou remains guarded, unsure of whether or not she is ready to open her coronary heart to a person new. After all, she is still mourning the loss of her sister and processing the changes to her life and circle of relatives. But Nathan's presence turns into a quiet comfort for Lou as he gives his unwavering support. Their emotional connection starts off, evolved to develop within the small moments. The kind of moments that don't force themselves, however, expand obviously over time. Their bond turns into stronger as they guide every different, each personally and as part of the Own family. While the beginnings in their dating provide wish for the destiny, Lou's inner warfare is simply as poignant. She is confronted with an enormous predicament. Is she equipped to like again after losing Amy and the headaches which have marked her past? Could she virtually permit herself to build a destiny with Nathan in spite of the uncertainty that lingers within the wake of Amy's death? As Lou and Nathan start to discover their feelings for every different, they are pressured to confront the fact that shifting on after loss is by no means smooth. Their developing connection comes with its own set of demanding situations, both inner and external. For Lou, the emotional weight of Amy's demise nevertheless hangs over her, and she or he struggles to reconcile her love for Nathan with the memories of her sister. Meanwhile, Nathan, who has his own records of loss, knows that establishing himself as much as someone new requires vulnerability, something he's now not always snug with. In the end, Heartland's destiny could be described by way of the energy of the family that stays. While Amy's absence leaves a plain void, her reminiscence, her values, and her love for the ranch will continue to stay on. And perhaps, most importantly, the circle of relatives will find out that even within the face of loss, there's usually room for brand spanking new love, new relationships, and new beginnings. The future of Heartland may be uncertain, but it is filled with possibility. Share your thoughts in the comment section and subscribe our channel for more Heartland Season 19 news. Thank you.